In this video, let's see how to work with conditions and looping. Before we go ahead with conditions and looping, first we'll discuss about how to work with Boolean type. So it is little different from other languages. What is the difference? So by default, in Python, you have some literal keywords like you can specify true or false values. So is there true, is there false, something like that. So these two are built in. When it comes to converting the values to, let's say it's already false and I can convert this into Boolean, fine. It is going to give me false. There is no doubt about it. There is no doubt about it. But what will happen if I give a number here? I'm giving 1. So 0 and 1, of course, replicate true and false, right? So here 1 is true and 0 becomes false. This is fine. There is no worry about this numerical representation. So let's see what will happen when we give this one as a string representation. So within double quotes, I'm giving true and I'm converting the true into Boolean type. So it says it is true, fine. So what will happen if I specify false? So before we discuss about while loop or if condition, this is important. If you know about how this Boolean works, and you can pretty much write conditions and verifications, all the stuff. Here what happens? Let's observe. It shows true, but I have given false here. So let me give it as capital letter and then capital letters also giving true. So this is the problem what you'll see. If there is any string, that you are converting from a string to Boolean, if there is a string, you are converting from string to Boolean. If there is any one character in that, that will be converted as true. Even if it is false, that is a string, so it will get converted to true. So what we have to do here, how to convert string to Boolean and how to get false result. So in that case, you need to give empty. When you give empty, this will give you false, right? So let us take an example. I will take value from command prompt, that means the console. So I'm giving input is element exist, something like that, exist, or is text exist in page, something like that. I'm giving a verification kind of stuff here. So I will give true or false here. I will give true or false. So run it. Is text exist in page? I'm giving input, so I have to give true or false here. So obviously input takes a string value. Input takes a string value. I'm saying true. So true will be converted into true, of course. Happy, no issue at all. But I wanted to give false. So it is not exist or something like that. I wanted to give false. So it's not possible. Why? If you give false here, it says true again, right? So what we have to do? So the technique is giving empty. When we give empty, it is showing false. So remember this technique we will be using in writing if conditions or in writing while loops. So, right. So when it comes to verifying some data in page or in database, wherever it is, if it returns empty, that becomes false. If it returns any value, that becomes true. Okay, remember that. Okay. So you need to modify that value to empty value in case based on the result of that verification, right? Yeah. So now let us discuss about if condition. What is if condition? Is 6 if condition. So in Python, you have only conditions here. if condition, but you don't have any kind of switch case. In other languages, you have switch case or select case, something like that. But in Python, you have only if conditions. How if condition works? Let us see that. I wanted to find an odd number. Find odd number. So to find odd number, obviously, we need to use percentile symbol. Let's say I wanted to find a 10 is odd number or not. So I will use 10 percentile 2. So if it is equals to 0, that becomes even number. And if it is not equals to 0, that becomes odd number, right? So not equals to 0. So how do I know that? So let me print it. Let me print it. So this should give me true or false. This should give me true or false. So here the condition is going to give you true or false result. You don't need to worry about it is string or something like that. It is going to give you the Boolean value. So it is Boolean type, right? So here we are going to give if condition. How to give if condition here? How to give if condition here? The syntax is very simple. I have to give if, and then specify the condition. Specify the condition. My condition is 10 percentile 2. This is my condition. And then you have to use colon. You have to use colon here, right? And then here you need to write this statement. And remember, you need to give a tab space, right? So you need to give a tab space. If you give tab space, the code what we are writing is part of if condition. If you write here, this is like an individual code and it shows an error. So this is how you have to create block in Python, right? So open the block and then start from there. You need to start with tab spacing. Generally, you have to use tab spacing, right? Here, I'll say, right, I'll store this number in a variable, and then I will use n, and here I'll specify print n comma, and then is an odd number, right? So if it is not equals 0, it's an odd number, right? Else I will specify print n comma, it becomes even number. So like this, you can able to write it's an even number. So like this, you can able to write if condition. This becomes if else condition. This becomes if else condition. 10 is an even number, like that it is given you, right? So remember, if you write here, you get an error. Why? The reason is this is not part of else. It shows that, you have to give tab spacing, right? Indent is expected. It shows indenting, right? So now it works. So this is how you have to write block in Python. So Python blocks are not created with the flower braces like other languages. Here, the blocks are created. You specify the block start and then use colon. And here you need to write all the code by using by indenting with space. So how many statements you write, those are all the statements becomes part of this particular clause, right? This particular if condition, right? So this is how you need to write. So whenever I start writing from here, and that becomes outside of if condition, right? So this is how you can write if else condition, right? And there is one more. You also have if else if like that. That means multiple conditions kind of stuff. So how are we going to write it? So let's say some x equals 10 and then y equals 20, and I wanted to write if else condition here, So I will use if, as usual, if x less than y, or I use x greater than y. I wanted to print x is bigger. Now again, else. So instead of else if, we have to use elif, right? Elif, right? Elif and y greater than x. So print y is bigger. And finally, else. I'm writing print both are equal. So here we can write only if condition You can write only if condition. Let's say I don't want if else or if elif. I don't want all this. I wanted to write only if condition. Yes, you can do even that one as well. So I wanted to write only if condition. Okay, like this. Okay, this is how. This is only if condition. That's it. So here you can write only if or else, if else, or you can write if elif. So like that you can have any number of conditions. So this is possible here, right? And yes, in other languages, you also have something called ternary operator where you can write if condition in single line itself by using some colon symbol. But here, how are we going to write this? So the same thing I will write using ternary operator technique, and before that I'll execute it. Right, it is giving correct answer, right? And I will give the same value for both, and then let's see how it works, and it is working without having any issue. Now, so first I will give this, okay, and then I will write ternary operator technique. So how are we going to write ternary operator technique? How to write if condition in single line? So just remember like this, single line techniques, right? Single line technique, single line technique. So in other languages, or some people call it as shorthand, some people call it as single line, some people call it as ternary operator technique. So it can be anything. So how are we going to write this? So first you will start with, so this I wanted to print. When you wanted to print this, if x is greater than y. If x is greater than y, you wanted to print that. Okay, fine. If x is not greater than y, what you're going to do? So what you have to do here is you specify else I wanted to print this. So now this is how right. So you need to write else here, right? So now what will happen in the last, it gives you x is bigger. So if x greater than y, else print y is bigger. Very simple. So it says y is bigger, right? So now I wanted to give one more condition here. Else print y is bigger. So when y greater than x, isn't it? So now here you are going to write again if y greater than x. So please understand this, right? So here you are going to print if this is greater than y. So else what you wanted to do, you have to specify that print y greater than y is bigger. So finally you have to write one more else, right? And here and specify, right, both are equal, right? So one thing is common here. I'm writing if else, or everything I'm writing in a single line. So finally, let's see what will happen. So is it working correctly or not? Let us observe this. I will give 10. Okay. So it should give both are equal in both the places. Here also both are equal, and here also both are equal. Okay, let me minimize this. So in both the places. So let us give y value, and x is greater and y is lesser. Let us see. So x is bigger, both are working correctly. And I will give y is 30. So x is lower, y is greater. So y is bigger, right? It works fine without having any issue. So like this, you can able to do whatever you want, right? So this is possible here, right? So this is one-liner. Right? So this is how you can use if condition. This is how you can develop if condition, if else, and if elif, like that you can extend, and you can even write condition inside of condition, like let's say I want to write one more condition. Yes, you can write that, no issue at all, right? You can write one more condition, one more if else condition inside of that, right? All you have to worry about is tabbing, right? Indenting. So you must make sure that when you start writing one more if condition here, this is T caps. Okay, one more if condition here, you need to start writing code from here, not from here, right? You need to start writing code from here. So this is what you have to remember. right? So this is if condition. So next one, how to implement for, right? Or while. So if condition is like a condition executes only once. A condition executes only once. And when it comes to while, it's also condition based looping, but it executes until condition satisfied, right? But when it comes to if condition, it executes only once. So how to implement while? Let us see this. Yes, while is similar to other languages, right? But there is only one extra thing, that is while else. Like the way how we have if else, similar to that, you have while else as well. That's the only different thing from other languages. So let us see that how while works. So let's say I'm giving I equals to 0, and I'll write while I less than 10. While I less than 10, so I'm printing I. So now this becomes infinite loop because I'm not incrementing I. So I'll stop it. So here there is a stop button, right? I'll stop it. So this is what, okay, these many times it executed. Okay. I wanted to quit if some, okay, it depends on the condition, right? So now I will use I equals I plus 1. So I can do that, right? So now what will happen? It is going to execute until the value is, I value is 9, right? This is what will happen. You can even do in this way, I plus equals, you can even do in this way. That is also same, right? That is also same. So you can loop through that. Here initialization is in outside of the for loop. This is condition and it is incrementation, right? So you can even have else block for while, and then what this else block is going to do, it is going to execute after completion of, while loop. So I'm printing, so while loop complete, I'll print while loop completed. Okay. I'll use this. Okay. Now, yep, you can see while loop completed. So now when this else block gets executed, so I'll do this one. So instead of giving condition here, I'll simply specify true here, and then I plus 1, and I'm giving one more saying that, you know, I wanted to print I if I is not 10, right? If I is not equals to 10, then only print I. Right? Print I, and then I equals I plus is equals to 1. So if I is 10, right? If I is 10, right? If I is 10, I wanted to break and then exit from while loop. So there are two ways, right? One way is I can give the condition directly here, right? And second way is if I is 10, I'll directly break from here, right? So now what will happen because of that? So it is not executing print while loop is completed, this statement. Why it's not executed? So while else executes, this executes when while not stopped due to break, right? So this executes while not stopped due to break. So if it is stopped due to break, so it is not going to execute else. So let us use some other technique here. So I will specify, okay, I'm verifying some data in the database. Is username exist in DB? Is username exist in DB? That's my variable. So I'm giving false. It is not exist in DB. I wanted to verify that username exists in DB. And for that, I'll execute some code. I wanted to execute the code until the username exists in DB, right? So now I'll use while not is username exists in DB. So now what will happen? So while not username exists in DB and it is false, and because of that, what will happen? It is continuously going to be true, right? So this is false, right? Because of that, not false becomes true, right? If it is true, it will go into the loop. If it is true, it will go into the loop. Now what I'll do, I will specify here. I will specify print, right? User doesn't exist. Okay, I will specify that. Okay, I will specify that. Oh, what is the problem here? I'm using this, so I have to specify this, or what I have to do? I need to start this with double quotes. So when I start this with double quotes, right? When I start this with double quotes, I can use single quote instead of double quote. Oh, again, it is converted to this one. Come on, man. Oh, okay. I'll do this one. Okay. Now this okay. Now this is okay, right? It is automatically converting because this is IDE feature. Now there is no issue. User doesn't exist, right? I will specify that. So what I have to do, I need to execute until user is exist. So for that, I will take the value from input. Is username exist in DB? I will use. So instead of verifying an application, I will give some values from console. So this is, I'm creating an example kind of stuff, right? Is username exist in DB? And please check DB. So something like that, I'm giving an enter value. Enter here. So now, how many times this is going to execute? N number of times until this becomes true, right? So let me execute this. Now it asks me, please check DB and enter here, right? So I'm entering and I'm giving false, right? So when I give false, what happened here? So there is a mistake I did. What is that mistake? I'm giving false. False becomes true. So when it is true, right? So not true become false, and then it is getting exit, right? So I'm giving a message here saying that please check DB and enter true or false here. Enter true or null. Okay, true or null here. Okay, now let's see what this is going to give me. So if I enter null, that means without giving any data, press enter, that becomes false, right? And true means that becomes true, right? That's what it is going to happen, right? So now I'm executing it. User doesn't exist. Please check DB and enter true or null here. So I've entered, I've checked DB, and then I'm saying, no, user is not exist. Okay, fine. Again, I'm just entering null. That means there is, I'm not going to type anything and then enter. So again, user doesn't exist. It is asking me, please check DB. No. How many times it executes? Unless I give any character. What is the meaning of this? This becomes true. That's it. Right? Now here, I can even write else block, right? I'll specify print user exist, right? Exist in DB. So that means the time when it is completed, right? By without using break statement, the time when it is completed, it is going to execute else block, and of course, it's executing else block, right? So it's not executing else block. It is still in while loop, right? And when it is going to execute else block, when I'm typing some character here, that can be anything. So any character into Boolean that gives true, right? That gives true, right? So now user existing DB, right? User existing DB. So this is what will happen, right? So else will be executed only when the loop is not exit because of break statement. So that's what you have to remember. Yes. So what are the next one? You have for loop as well. So how to work with for loop? I will create one more class here, Python, then P8 for loop. Done. Now, so while loop, it is purely condition based. It executes until the condition is satisfied, right? And when it comes to for loop, it is iteration based. That means I wanted to iterate over the list. I wanted to iterate some code with for specific number of times. So these kind of situations we can use for loop. Let's see that. The first thing, print numbers from 1 to 10. So I'm giving this. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to have, in other languages, we have initialization, incrementation, condition, those kind of things. But when it comes to Python, we do not have the kind of stuff. We need to use something called range. Right? So what range is going to do is range automatically generates numbers based on the input what you have given. If you give 1 comma 10 or 1 comma 11, so range starts from 0, right? That's why n minus 1 will be generated. So if I don't give 1 here, it is going to give numbers from 0 to 10, right? So first let me explain you that and then I'll come here. Range type. So range type is going to give you a range of numbers. It is going to give you iterator, and I will change that to list, and then we'll show you dot print, and then see that it is going to give the numbers from 0 to 10. You can see that 0 to 10, right? So we don't have, for in other languages we have for I equals 1, I greater than less than or equals 10, and I plus plus. So like that you give in other languages, but whereas in Python you need to play that with range. Automatically we can iterate over range. Okay, range of numbers. So here range, how this range works. Observe this one. If I give 11, it is giving you from 0 to 10. So total 11 numbers. And I'll specify 1 comma 11, that starting position becomes 1. That's it. The starting position becomes 1. And ending position is going to be, so n minus 1. So that is 10. So like this, you can give, let's say I want to start from 10 and then 20. Right. It is going to give you numbers from 10 to 19. 10 to 19. This is how it works. So this is a range type. So you need to play for loop with range type, right? Now for I in range of, I will specify 1 comma 11. So print I. So that's it. Very simple. So it is going to each and every value of that range and then gets that value and then prints it. So in Java or C# or JavaScript, you have normal for loop and advanced for loop, where for each loop kind of things. In VBScript also you have it. But when it comes to Python, so the same thing works as normal for loop, same thing works as advanced for loop. So now how to print values of a list or set or anything, right? So how can we do that? So it's simple. All we are going to do is, let's take a list here. Let's take a list here, x equal 10, 20, 30. I'm getting a list. Simple, the same old story for in X, that is my list. I'll use some meaningful name here, LST, right, LST, and colon, and as usual, the block starts from here. You need to use tab. So don't ever forget it. Okay, Python syntax, a little bit confusing because of using tab. So in other languages, you use mostly braces for creating a block, but when it comes to Python, you are going to use tab, right? This is important. You're going to use tab. If you use some tab, whatever you write here, that becomes part of this loop, this block, right? Now, I'm printing values, right? This becomes, right? This becomes a for each loop kind of stuff. Let's say I wanted to print values based on index. I wanted to print values based on index. So what I've done here, to print numbers from 1 to 10. And here, what I did, I have created print values of a list, right? So similar to that, I'm using print values of a list, values of a list using index, right? So now how are we going to do it? Same thing, right? For I in, and what I'm going to do is, okay, this is I in, and what I have to do here, LST, right? And if I use LST directly, it is going to get, the I is going to get 10, 20, 30, but I don't want in this way. So that's why I have to use a range of, and I will specify what is my starting position. Starting position is going to be 0 by default. And what is my ending position? Ending position is the length, right? The total length, right? So if I give 3, so of course 0, 1, 2, range will navigate over the 0, 1, 2. So that's fine, no issue, right? So how to get the length of that list? We already know that. So we have a len function, and then we can use list here, and we can get it. So now I will iterate through 0, 1, 2, right? So now I will have those values. So now print what we can do, LST of I, right? So this is how you can able to print values by using index, right? And fine. Let's say print numbers, print odd numbers, let's say, print odd numbers. So let me print odd numbers using incrementation technique and the usual technique. Okay, the usual technique is, we already discussed here. This is the usual technique, isn't it? Okay, you're finding an odd number, n is odd number or not. This is the usual technique, isn't it? So n equal 10 and percentile 2 is equals like that. So what you'll do, you're going to write for loop above that. You're going to write for loop above that. So let's say print odd numbers between 10 and 20, between okay, 10 and 30, right? So now what I'll do, I will specify for loop starting from range, starting from 10 and 31, because so it is going to navigate till 30, and I must make sure that this is part of this one. That's it. So select lines and then press tab. Okay, that is a shortcut what I've used. Don't get confused. Select line and then press tab, right? Okay. So here I will remove, I will use n here. That will be easy for us, right? So now, so this is going to print odd numbers between 10 and 30. That's it, right? It is going to print odd numbers between 10 and 30. So this is what it does. So there is another way by using incrementation technique. In case that's not the usual technique, I wanted to explain you how incrementation works. Okay, I just wanted to, I want you to understand. So I'm starting from 11, and then here I will give comma 2, right? So when I specify first time, it is going to have 11. Second time, it is going to have 11 plus 2, 13, like that. So it will print values. It will print values from 11, 13, 15, like that. So whatever you give, that becomes the incrementation. In range, it is, if you give only one number, it is going to generate numbers from 0 to that number. If you give range start and range end, it will start from here and then ends here. And if you give any number, the third parameter, that is the incrementation. So now using this technique, we'll also print numbers from 10 to 1, 10 to 1. So now how are we going to print numbers 10 to 1? So let us see that. The same technique I'm going to use, but I will use -1 here. I will use -1 here, right? So what will happen if you use -1 here, right? -1. So will it take that -1 anything? No, it's not taking it, right? Why it is not taking? Because I'm starting from 31. Okay, let's say if we start from 31 here, okay, 10 to 1, right? Okay, I'll start from 10 and then I will use 0, right? And then let us see whether it is going to print 10 to 1. Yes, 10 to 1, right? Okay, why I'm giving 0? So it is obviously n minus 1, right? Okay, that's why you have to give a 0. You have to remember this, the second parameter, why I'm giving one number extra or one number lesser. Okay, you have to remember that. Okay, you need to understand this one as well. Right, so this is how range works, and then you can iterate using for loop. So now how to iterate by how to iterate through dictionary, right? So you have set and you have dictionary, tuple, you have all these things. Tuple and list iteration is same, and how to iterate through dictionary, that is more important. Okay, let's say I'm using some variable d is equals, I will specify some name colon. Okay, I will use name colon, then Selenium, and I will specify version and colon and 4.0, something like that I'm specifying. So these two are the name and version are the keys, and Selenium and 4.0 are the values. Fine, happy. So now how are we going to iterate over this dictionary, right? So obviously I'm going to use for k in, okay, now I'm using dictionary. Let's see what will happen. I'm using dictionary. Let's see what will happen. What this k will print, what this k will print, right? I'm not giving any other thing. I'm just using this one. It is by default printing name and version. That's it. It is by default printing those particular key names, right? So it is not printing values. So we have a method here where you have d dot items, right? D dot items. So what this will do is, it will print item by item. You can see that item by item, right? Item by item. So this is a tuple and this is a tuple, right? This is a tuple. You can see that it is creating it as a tuple kind of stuff, right? Now, how are we going to print values? The good thing here is you can use one more variable, right? So this is the advantage, right? You can specify here. So what will happen here is, okay, let's see, it is going to get the values from everything. So name, Selenium, version. Okay, like this is the advantage of it. So automatically this is returning two iterators. So the first variable will go to first one, second variable will go to second one. That's the advantage, and at a time it can iterate over to something. So if you don't understand, I will give you one more example. I have a list1 is equals, I will specify within this one, I will specify 2, and I will specify 3, like this. Okay, now I'm creating one more lst2 is equals, I will specify 1 comma 2 comma 3. Okay, just like that. Okay, now what I will do is for I in lst1, it is going to print 1, 2, 3. It's going to print 1, 2, 3, right? Yeah. See this one. 1, 2, 3. So now what I'm going to do, I wanted to print lst1 as well as lst2. Okay, I'll just give it. Okay, what will happen? Let us see. Let us see this. So now here, it's still, okay, do we have any error? No error. And it is still printing, right? So 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Okay, this is the first one and this is the second one kind of thing, right? So now what I'm going to do is, I will use some j I'll use some j, and then I'm going to print this j as well. I'm going to print this j as well, right? So what this will, what this is actually going to do, right? So what happened? Oh, we got an error. Why? Oh, I need to triple it. I need to triple it. Okay, let us see this. Whether are we going? Oh, still we got an error. Okay, what we did? We need to combine these two. We need to combine these two. That's why we have a function called zip. We have a function called zip. When we zip it, now we can able to iterate over both the things. Now I can able to iterate both the things. Now I will specify I comma, and I will use this, and then I will specify j. So now what this is going to do is it is going to print the values like this. So this is the advantage. You can iterate over multiple stuff. You can iterate over multiple, right? Multiple lists or multiple tuples. You can iterate over that. So these are all the advantages of this for loop, right? So now one more thing is how to write for loop in a single line itself. Let's say I wanted to print, I wanted to use for loop in single line. So is there any technique? So Python is all about, Pythonic way means always reducing the lines of code, right? So this is what it does. So how to do that? So that's when we have comprehensions. I will show one of the comprehension, and this will be easy to you. So let's say I wanted to print values of a okay, the same thing. The first thing what we have seen, print to 1 to 10. Okay, so in Pythonic way. So the Pythonic way is I will print I, right, and then I'm going to use for I in a range of 1 comma 11. That's it. So now it is going to execute that statement, and then you will have all the values. Simple. So like that, right? So let's say, do we have anything here? We have created, right? And let's say I'm finding odd numbers between, okay, I'm finding odd numbers, right? I'm finding odd numbers, okay. Range 1, 2, and okay, fine. I wanted to print squares of some number, right? Okay, even we can do that one as well. I wanted to print squares of that, okay, right? So what I can do, I star star 2, and this is going to have the squares of each and every number, yes. So what is, oh, I have to print it, right? Okay, the printing is missing, right? Dot print, the printing, oh, okay. It is not automatically coming inside of print, right? Yeah. So let's see what will happen. Star star, it's actually going to into that, right? Okay, so here you can see that 2 2s are 4, 3 3s are 9, 4 4s are 16, like that. You have everything, right? So there is one more thing. You can actually create the list of it. In fact, you can actually create the list of it, right? That is also possible, right? So here, this is going to be list. Let's say sq is equals, and then I'm using sq dot print. It is going to print it, right? So it's there is so much of thing inside of this, but I'm just telling you it will return that. It will return that, right? So this is how you can do many more things in Python. Even one line if condition you can write here, and then you can write for loop, and you can have all the odd numbers. So like that you can do many more things, right? So this is about conditions and looping in Python. So practice well, and you can practice on uh, some programming questions, like finding prime number or reversing numbers. So and creating matrix, and create Pascal triangle, like that. You can practice, you can apply programs, you can apply loops and conditions on them, so that you will have more knowledge and more practice, and more you'll have more knowledge, more control over Python syntax. You'll have more control over Python syntax. This is possible, right? So this is it. Thank you. Thanks for watching.